Something that annoys me for the social culture and for high is the amount of comparisons that people will have with each other. So, for example, hey, how many hours do you sleep? Because I only slept for two. Oh, wow, 2 hours. I only slept 1 hour. Oh, wow, I pulled an all-nighter. The less hours you sleep, the more you study, the more impressive others think you will be. Or either stupid or impressed, because yay, you're breaking your health for good grades, or nay. So, uh, in this capitalist competitive society, I wondered, why do people strive for that success, right? Why are people sacrificing their health for these possibilities of being the greatest, climbing that ladder? So when I digged into it, there's two main reasons that I found. There was happiness, and this involves the subcategories: personal growth, money, security, acceptance from others, appreciation from others. Those all lead to happiness. And I'm saying money. I'm not saying money is happiness, or money creates happiness. I'm saying it makes it easier to be happy. For example, you're not going to live paycheck to paycheck being stressed, right? Once you have more than that, and you're able to fund for yourself, it becomes easier to be happy, right? Going on field trips, you're not allowed to do that much. Not field trip, vacations. You're not allowed to do that much if you're living from paycheck to paycheck, trying to pay off whatever you need to do and to know where your next meal is coming from. Another thing is security. Security and happiness, I think, is quite intertwined, because happiness does create security. Security does create happiness, in the sense that you have a relationship with someone, right? That sense of security brings happiness. There's another crutch on your shoulder that you can rely on, or share the bounds, share the things that are crushing you, so that you guys can both help each other face it. Not one person shouldering all the burden of this specific task that might be, well, crushing them. Even in the study with Velch and Trujillo, sorry if I butchered the last names, but they were studying how the young perceived security. In as young, I meant like teenagers or younger, where they're given a chance to be better, or better opportunities of education, and they got a chance to switch schools, or um, they are on their way to become more successful than the average teenager that comes out of where they are from, a more impoverished, a more poor area. And they said that the concept of security is more and more ambiguous, right? So it's not just the sense of safety of a home. It's more than that. There's like economic, of course, that sense of where you're getting your money for, the environmental, right? Where's your home, or the border security, or like all. It's very generalized into this one word, security. So I don't want to think of security as just um, knowing a secure job. So security is something that um, you need to create happiness, and happiness is something that you need to motivate you to drive and grab that security. Yeah, happiness, relationships, achievements all relate to security. The same thing goes around the other way. So then, uh, when you get so much happiness, um, when does it come too much? When does it develop into greed, right? How does this happiness change and turn your motivation from, I'm happy about this, I'm almost satisfied, but I'm not satisfied enough? And when does it turn into greed? So I examined Death of the Salesman, and a lot of times I think I kind of compare Death of the Salesman to like murderers, or like companies that are greedy. Death of the Salesman, Willie, the main character, he wants to create a legacy. He wants more for his children, where he already gave enough to his children. Where he has a house. He's pretty much paid off the house, car. Most of everything is paid off for. He just around like 2 more days he can retire. But instead, well, he ends his own life for this sense of an insurance check where he believes will go to his family. Well, we don't know in the end. And I think this relates to people like murderers, where although it's a bad comparison, but um, it's what I'm trying to get to. Companies or murderers, they want more, and when they want more, usually that's how they are caught. So, but if the expectations of companies are so small and you can barely like sense it, then well, what do you do? See, Death of the Salesman examines the pride, but also examines the capitalist system, um, the leaks and the failures of the capitalist system, how exploitations of bigger companies will feed off of bad addictions and oftentimes will hide in the shadows of the realms of this market, this free market, and just get wealthier off of these bad habits other people have. An example is social media. This is like biggest example that it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and especially short form social media like Instagram Reels, Facebook like Shorts, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. They all have this sense of um, like dopamine. It'll give you this dopamine to keep you on this app for as long as you can. So each video around 60 seconds, they have a chance of making you laugh. That thing making you laugh is well, dopamine, because dopamine is the chemical that releases in your brain to make you feel happy, blah blah blah. And each video is a chance of well being happy again. And if someone is bored or if someone's not in the right mindset, they'll be stuck in this vicious cycle of trying to be happy again and again and again, scrolling for hours on end, realizing it's just a little pounce of happiness compared to an overtime long goal happiness, right? I um I think Death of the Salesman, um, Benzing Man, um, writing critique. He wrote about the well the flaws of the American dream, um, right? So on the other hand, a delusionary, myth-seeking pattern of thinking is associated with a vision of success that is selfish or unethical. The kind of success that Willie admires. See, the writing in the article represents how Willie is completely a victim of this system, right? He is trapped into believing that uh, he could do it, but the exploitations of bigger companies, like the son of the boss, or the boss's son, the new boss, he is now the new boss, and he controls and manipulates everyone below him. Willie is a victim to this, right? Again, exploitation of this guy where he works for 20 years but is still rejected promotion. So it drives Willie almost mad, because all his thoughts are happy thoughts. They're in a time where he's reminiscent and he's just constantly being manipulated by the American dream. And there's a lot of people that are manipulated, right? So this system, this sense of security is not perfect, but it guarantees a lot more or gives a lot more chances compared to other systems. Example like Gaokao in China, where well, you take a test. If you do poorly, you get sent to vocational school, and that's the rest of your life. If you do well, you get sent to a big college, big boy college, and so people will, wealthier families will escape to America for the sense of more fair competition, where there's not just one test that makes or breaks your entire life. So then, when should you be content? What makes a person become content? I examined in Death of the Stranger. He kind of is an example of extreme versions of content, right? He's a person that is so, well, almost nonchalant in a way, where he kind of doesn't get bothered by anything emotional. It's all physical. For example, his mother at a funeral at the very beginning of the book, he didn't show any sorrow because he wasn't really attached to his mother at that well, nor did he feel too much sorrow killing a man. Um, and he just felt the heat of the sun and how hot it was, how he was sweating. This is an example of like extreme content, the way I see it. And eventually, when he does become locked up in his jail cell, he remembers a saying from his mother. You'll get used to it eventually, and I like that saying from his mother, where eventually, yes, people do become content. I researched a little farther the author of Albert Camus, Camus, and he's a philosopher, French philosopher, and his way of thinking for philosophy was extremely unique. He thought that you can think and think about life all you want, but eventually you're gonna realize there's no end to it, right? There's no end to this endless thought of what is the meaning of life. So, well, it's kind of absurd to keep thinking about it. So why don't you just, well, live your life as happily, as grateful as you can? That's kind of what absurdism is. Live your life to the realization that hope for a faith is kind of useless because faith is man-made and is just an answer to the questions that we can't solve yet. This higher place, this higher realm, heaven, is it real? Well, there's no clear evidence. Otherwise, every single person in this world would be